Hey guys, it's Marina. So today I want to do something a little differently than what I had planned. I would like to talk to you about something that I've had to experience in my life, and today marks the 1 year anniversary of it. So I've experienced death in many ways. I've experienced it through car accidents, medical problems, old age, everything you can think of. But the one kind of death that I never thought I'd have to go through in my life was suicide. You know, suicide is a hard thing to wrap your head around because you don't understand what's going through their mind when they decide to do it, and you're never gonna know because, well, let's face it, everybody is different, and sometimes things just aren't meant to be understood. So I would like to tell you about someone that I care very dearly about. I thought of him as a great friend, as a best friend. I've known him for many years now, and I considered him my best friend for a good 8 to 10 years. We had a very good relationship. When we were younger, we went to the same church. We grew up knowing each other for a very long time. Granted, we met each other as we were 12 years old, and we had grown up a little bit at that point, so we hadn't been with each other for our entire life. But 10 years is half my age now, and at the point that he had died, we had been friends for a good 8 to 10 years roughly. Share with you some stories about him and some of the reactions that I've had over the last year. My friend Caleb, Caleb and I were Caleb and I and 4 other boys, so I was the only girl in the group, went to church with each other. Now technically it was only 3 boys and me, but over the years Caleb brought in another friend that we all were great friends with. I knew him from school. I never thought of him as a friend until, Caleb brought him around, but I have grown to really think of him as a friend too over the years. So we used to do a lot of things together. Me being the only girl in the group, I didn't do sleepovers and campouts and whatever they all did. But anytime they all got together and I wasn't there, they came to church on Sunday or they came to church on Wednesday. We hung out in a group, and they always made me feel a part of it. They shared their events that they did, the shenanigans they pulled. I wonder if people actually use that word. I don't know. The pranks they pulled, the jokes they played. They always brought me into the action and told me all about it, and I felt like I was there even if I wasn't. And that was a really nice thing for me. I didn't have a lot of friends back then, but they were my friends. I always looked at them as being a friend. And we grew up, and we all kind of went our own ways. The boys still hung out once in a while. For the most part, we didn't really hang out all that much, or as much. We all had our own things in life. And, by the time he graduated from high school, he went off and did his own thing. And I was still in school, and I was doing my thing. Then I graduated high school and went off and did my own thing. We didn't really see each other much. We made a point to message each other on Facebook or send each other a text at least once a month just to kind of catch up. We didn't really get together all that much once I hit high school. We had a few things that we would do here and there because at the beginning he was still going to my church. And then as time grew and he grew and time went on, he really didn't go to church as much, and that was okay. We didn't need to. I felt like our relationship was not one where I needed to constantly hang out with him, constantly hang out with the rest of the guys. I was content with just getting once in a while updates, letting me know how their life went, letting me know that they're doing okay. So for me, when Caleb died, it was really hard for me to understand why he did it. But it was also really hard for me to understand why I didn't realize he was having a hard time with whatever was going on. As time went on, I heard bits and pieces of things that was going on in his life that he didn't tell me. And I've chose to stay away from that because he's not there to tell me directly exactly what was going on in his brain. So it's not fair to me to put blame on anyone else, even myself. I can't blame myself because, like I said, I didn't know what was going on in his brain and he didn't choose to tell me. So over this last year, I've had to really come to terms with not being upset with myself that I didn't know what was going on, not being upset with others who are in his life, more than me, but also know that I don't need to be upset at all. Caleb was having a hard time, and he chose not to share with people what was going on, and that was his decision. But for me, the biggest thing I've had to cope with and understand and learn from over this last year is why he did it. And through my faith, I was able to pray, talk to others, read my Bible. I definitely got into my faith a lot more in this last year than I really have my entire life because I always wanted to understand why. And it took me a good 6, 7, 8 months to realize I don't need to know why. To know that, God had a plan. Caleb had a plan. It just didn't involve me knowing at the time. And that can be a really hard thing for a lot of people to comprehend and understand. I know that it has now been a year, and I still come back to that on a very regular basis, trying to understand why. But I keep reminding myself that I don't need to know why, and it'll be okay. So I want any of you guys to know that if you are struggling with something like this, I will always be here to listen to you. There's always someone in your life who is willing and wanting to listen to you. And if you've already had to go through it and now you're the one trying to understand, I want you to know that you're not going to understand. You're not going to understand until my faith tells me I'm going to die and go to heaven, or maybe I won't go to heaven, but my faith, I choose to believe that Caleb and I will both go to heaven, and I will be able to find out then. I'll be able to ask my questions. So whether you have a faith or not, I still believe that you don't need to know why. There was a greater plan somewhere, and that you're going to understand one day, and it might not be while you're alive. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody who doesn't have a faith that they believe in like that. And if you don't, that is perfectly fine with me. You don't have to agree with me. But I just want you to know that there is always someone in your life wanting to listen. And if you don't feel that way, I am here to tell you that I will listen. Because I really didn't have a lot of people over this last year that I felt I could come to and share these feelings with, because they really didn't understand what was going on with me, with my emotion towards it. My fiance is amazing. He listens to me whenever I need to talk to him. My parents are amazing and listen. But over the years, for the fact that me and the 3 other guys spread apart, our relationships kind of distanced, I didn't feel like I could come to them and talk to them and share with them how I was feeling. And a part of me wonders if maybe I should have, because who knows, maybe they were going through those same thoughts too. But either way, after Caleb died, I found that there was more people in his life that I realized that actually cared, that he wasn't there. He had a lot of friends and family that cared about him, and if you're going through emotions where you feel like that is your only option to go to, I hope you know that you'll be surprised. There are going to be tons of people in your life that will care. And you might say you have no family, no friends. And I want to tell you, unless you don't go to work, don't go to school, you've never met a single person in your life, and your entire family is gone already, then that's not the case. Because you've met many people in your life who care. you made an impact on them, whether you realize that or not. And, I knew Caleb for a lot of years. So even though we spent a good 3 years not, running in the same circle anymore, not constantly hanging out with each other, constantly talking to each other, those once a month moments were enough in those past moments that I have had through, the hard part of your childhood. Middle school is a hard time in life. Late kindergarten when you're learning to do different things, beginning of high school, those are harder transitions. I experienced those transitions with Caleb. So those moments have affected me. They made me who I am. I actually got my very first tattoo because of Caleb. I had told myself I was never going to get a tattoo. There was no way. Then he died, and about a month later, I realized that I had something I wanted to put on my body to remind me of him. But it wasn't something that I constantly looked at and it said, Caleb, rest in peace, or, his birthday, or anything like that. It wasn't a constant. It wasn't like someone looked at me and thought she had someone die in her life. And that was what I wanted. I wanted something that meant something to me, but didn't have to mean to anybody else. And it didn't have to show anybody else to be like, yeah, I went through a loss. I didn't want that when I had a tattoo. I wanted it to be meaningful and for me. And the tattoo says, life goes on. And Caleb actually used to tell me, life goes on, Marina, all the time. It was a common thing he told me. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I have, different hand problems. And I'm a very short person. I have different quirks about me that are different. All sorts of stuff that makes me who I am. And I went through a lot of my life experiencing turmoil and pain and grief when people, made fun of me or hurt me in some way. But he constantly reminded me, Marina, life goes on. They're not going to be in your life forever. They're going to make your life go on. They're going to make you one day. And I full-heartedly believe it. And then when he passed away, I just constantly couldn't get out of my head. Life goes on. He's not here anymore. But he's made me who I am. He's helped make me. My parents made me. My parents have raised me to be who I am. But my friends in my life have helped make me. My teachers, people that meet me on the street that are nice, they help make me. I wouldn't be a kind person unless I had those kind, compassionate people in my life. I wouldn't be so outgoing and excited and embraceful of my hands and who I am if it weren't for those people that taught me life goes on. They're not always going to be in your life, but they are going to help make you. And that has inspired me this last year to work my way through these hard moments when Caleb isn't here. Things that I want to tell Caleb, our monthly updates on how our life was going. I miss those. But I constantly remember life goes on. I'm going to see him one day. But until I see him again, I need to embrace my life right now. And that's what I've been doing. And that has helped me realize that I don't need to know why he did it. But there are always going to be those moments in my life, like the day I got engaged, the day I turned 20 and I was no longer a teenager, the day I turned 21 and can start drinking legally, or the day I got married, the day I have children, the day I find out I'm pregnant, whatever those experiences are. I don't know. The day I have heart surgery, the day I have whatever goes on in my life, those big impact moments that you love to share with people. I will always remember that Caleb is not one of those people I'm sharing that moment with. At least not face to face in our updates, face to face in the moments that are happening. And I'm not fully okay with that. I still wish he was here for me to experience those moments with him. But life goes on. I wish that was something that he would have thought about. There are many things that I wish he would have thought about before, he did what he did. But he didn't think those things. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But I truly don't think he realized how many people would miss him and how many people would care. On Facebook, you see there are tons of people on Facebook, in the news, wherever it might be. You hear there are tons of people who have committed suicide or committed a murder or a felony of some sort, did something bad in their life or something they shouldn't have done in their life. And it isn't until after the fact that they realize they had people that cared about him. They had people that were there to support him and help them. I should clarify that. They didn't realize how many people were there to support them and help them. And a part of me wonders if Caleb just didn't realize how many people cared. But I choose to think that he's looking down at all of us and he's proud of where we're going in our life, that he's looking out for us, being all of his friends, guardian angels when they need it. There are many people who say they feel a presence around them, like when someone dies, their grandparent, their best friend, their mom, their dad. They make comments about having a guardian angel and that they felt their spirit or whatever it might be. I personally have never had those feelings before. Never felt like my grandfather was near me, Caleb was near me, whoever I met was near me. But there are moments where I see things like compassion or happiness, where all I can do is picture the happy moments I had with them. And throughout this year, the best thing that's gotten me through it all is remembering those happy moments. So that's all I want to share. That is one thing I want you guys to remember, is if you're going through this hard moment, whether it be an accident or old age or whatever, or suicide, and you're experiencing death, I hope you remember you have people around you that are there to support you, that will help you through those moments, and it will all get better because life goes on. And those moments that you've already experienced will help you be who you are in the long run. My friendship I had with Caleb will help me with how I want my friendships in the future to go. They'll help me with how I want to raise my children one day. Caleb, I felt like, always had a smile when I saw him. There wasn't a moment I don't think I saw him where that first minute he saw me wasn't having a smile. I'm not saying there was a smile on his face the entire day, but no matter what was going on, I always remember being able to walk into a room and making eye contact with him and having a smile on his face. Or he always knew when it was appropriate to laugh and when it was appropriate not to. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is you always have someone in your life that cares about you, whether you are going through this trouble or heartbreak, however you want to look at it, or the flip side, you feel like suicide is the only option. There are hotlines, there are websites, there are friends, family, teachers, counselors that all want to help you if those are things that you're experiencing. So, I'm sorry that today was not a fun, uplifting moment, but I really wanted to share how I was feeling in this last year when it came to experiencing someone commit suicide and experiencing that kind of a death and turmoil. But to let everybody know that I've been through it and I'm there for you, and there are many people out there for you. All in all, I hope you know there are people out there who care about you, including me. remember, life goes on, and life might not go on the way you want it to, but life goes on, and you're going to keep growing and keep being a better person. And don't ever forget those happy moments you've had with that person, because if all you think about are the sad, the angry moments and hurtful moments, then there's no reason for you to be thinking of them at all, because those are the feelings that they were going through at that time. Because I don't think someone would commit suicide if they were having happy moments and happy thoughts going on in their head. I will leave a link at the bottom to a suicide hotline if there's anybody out there that is thinking about suicide or needs someone to talk to about suicide. I'll see you later.